Hi Rahulji, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you,
I'm
Soumya
good.
ji?
I'm good. Did you yesterday you didn't attend? Did you watch the class?
No, I was very busy with my schoolwork actually,
Oh,
because assessments and worksheets and lots of things is happening. So I was completely busy with that.
okay.
Even till 1:30, I was making my worksheet and assessment sheets.
Ah, okay. So, but anyway, not if you even weren't able to watch yesterday's. Any doubts in anything we have discussed so far?
Yeah, means it is about uh, not Bhramri, uh, Ujjayi Pranayam.
Ujjayi
Uh,
pranayam?
yeah, not Ujjayi, Sheetkari, and then other one, Sheetl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the tongue, uh, and before that, Ujjayi, I think, Ujjayi Pranayam, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Ujjayi Pranayam, I was little confused the way you taught, and then I watched the pre-loaded videos.
Mm-hmm.
So in that video, it would mention, don't make that sound, just feel your breathing sound.
Okay.
And you mentioned you need to take out little sound.
Mm.
So I
So,
was,
mhm. Yeah. So, see, that is for, I think, mostly from asana perspective, because over there, suppose you are in downward facing dog, then you won't be able to like be in a position where the contraction in the throat is that much, because already
yeah,
you are in like head is down, that inversion kind of pose. So in that type of breathing, like Ujjayi breath is more consistent with Ashtanga Vinyas series. That is the one that you do in Ashtanga Vinyas series. This is the Hatha Yogic practice, like the one that I taught.
okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Understood now. Yeah.
And what about Shithli, Shithkari also you were asking?
Sheetli, I was fine, and Sheetli, I was not able to, because I can't roll my tongue like you. But Sheetkari, I was fine, absolutely.
Okay,
And
good.
yeah, yesterday I think you started with Brahmri.
Mm-hmm.
So Brahmri, I was means practicing earlier also, but the technique, I saw that Brahmri pranayam video late in the
Mm-hmm.
night.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, we need to block our nostril, or just for open for breathe in and breathe out.
It's open, like for like because we are not practicing retention. When you practice retention, you can gently like close your nostrils using your middle
Okay,
fingers. Yeah, but we were
okay,
doing
okay,
we are doing all of them without retention. So uh, closing the nostrils will not be a part.
okay. And breathe in and breathe out. Inhale and exhale from your nose, not from your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Pranayam doubts in philosophy class. Nice.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry about that. I thought you had doubts related to philosophy. No worries.
No, no.
Good. It's okay. Okay.
No,
So,
philosophy, I am reading that manual and the books you referred. So those books, whenever I'm getting time, I'm just reading those books. So far, I'm clear with that.
mm, good. Okay, so let's begin today's class.
Yeah.
Back and neck straight. Gently close your eyes and start observing the breath. Natural flow of the breath as you breathe in And as you breathe out, take your time and allow your breath to come to a consistent rhythm. And when you feel ready, you can go ahead and begin to deepen your breath. Take more time to inhale and exhale now. And just see that there is no pressure while you do this. And when you feel ready, start adding the practice of Kumbha, retaining your breath inside for 2 seconds and then going into the process of exhalation. Prepare yourself mentally for chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shanti. After your next exhalation, inhale deeply for Om. Just feel the vibrations. Join both your palms together in front of the chest and rub them together. Place them over the eyes and very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palm, open up your eyes, come back for the smile, and namaste to everyone. Let us begin today's session. But before that, today we have the full moon. Yes, yesterday also it was a very special day, Guru Purnima, and today also we have the full moon. So do take out some time for meditation. Yeah,
Guru Purnima is today or yesterday's?
it for India, I can tell you like because I think some differences there. But in India, it was yesterday, and today we have the full moon. So it's like there are 2 days this time which are very important.
Okay, okay, okay.
Uh, mm. You guys can take out time today to meditate apart from your meditation class. It is very good. Like it will give you a lot of results today because all of the energies are around you are supporting that.
Sure.
So yesterday we were discussing the vrittis. We had covered praman, viparya, and vikalp. All three of these we have covered. So let's move to the next one, which is nidra or sleep. Okay. So first three vrittis that we had discussed were on the conscious level. Yes, when we were awake, we were in the awake state. That is when these vrittis were being formed. But Patanjali ji realized that this is not the only time when you are dealing with the mental modification. Even when you go to sleep, at that point of time also, you are forming vrittis. Okay. So suppose um, you went to sleep, so we have dreams, right? So that thing, at that point of time also, there is a mental modification, a mental reaction that is going on. And that mental reaction is called nidra. For him, he described nidra in that way, where you are not like aware of whatever is going on. In that state, also, you are forming an impression in the mind, and that impression comes under this vritti. Okay, and he considered this vritti to be very important. I'll tell you why. But before that, according to him, like what happens in our dreams is um, we are cut off from the external world. Okay, so a state of pratyahar or the fifth limb where we withdraw the senses has already taken place when we are in the state of sleep. Okay, but those external objects form the basis of the formation of the internal body. So generally you must have seen you dream about the things that have happened to you, or at least when you are dreaming about something, then something familiar pops up, or it has a tendency to come in your dream in some or the other way. So there might be a lot of imagination, but then you are present, or maybe someone you might have had like an argument with someone, so that person will pop up in your dream. So constantly there is a mental reaction going on even when you go to sleep. Okay, and why has he considered this to be so important? Because this stage is very similar to the stage of samadhi. It's just the only difference between the two states of mind are when you are in samadhi, you are aware. There is consciousness, you understand, like there is a level of awareness that exists when you are in the state of samadhi, but everything external to you is again cut off. Yes, you have already gone into the stage of pratyahar. So all of those things are happening in sleep also, but there is no awareness. Okay, so that this is the difference between the state of samadhi and the state of sleep. That in one state you are aware, okay, this process is going on, and in the second one you are not aware, you are totally like asleep. You cannot change that, you cannot avoid the reaction. Basically when you are dreaming, you are not unable to avoid the reaction. You cannot like just control that, okay, now a particular impression is not being formed. But in the state of samadhi, you can do that. Okay. So this is your fourth vritti. Then the fifth vritti that we have is smriti or memory. Yes. So smriti directly translates to memory. And what is memory? Yes, memory is mostly something that has happened in your past, and you have not allowed that experience to escape from your mind. Okay. So sometimes we say that, I still remember that thing. So why? Because it already happened, but you never allowed that thing to escape from your mind. Yes. So in that case, that, like, whatever that incident was, it becomes a memory. And sometimes what happens is that you forget a particular thing. So that is when that is when the memory is not formed. Okay? We forget things. So we let go of those things from the mind level. Yes, mental field. So that does not form a memory. But this is also a vritti. Why? Because it is an impression. Every time you think of a memory, again, the impression is formed. One thing is that thing happened and you formed an impression in that moment. Then you keep repeating that in your mind. So that stage where you are again and again forming that vritti is smriti or memory. Okay. So memory is also of two types. Your conscious memory is there and your subconscious memory is there. Yes, sometimes we are able to consciously remember things, and sometimes we don't need to remember them. If, for example, I will ask you what your phone number is, so you don't have to think about it. That information is directly coming from your subconscious mind. Okay. So that is the level also where the memories are formed, they are stored, and consciously also you are again and again when you are thinking of it, you are modifying that. In fact, I think there was some research, or I read this somewhere, that every time you think of a memory again, you alter something in it. So, suppose something happened to you today. Now, suppose I picked up a pen. So, every time I remember this memory, I'm going to alter something about it. So, when I think of it the first time, it's very fresh. So, I will just remember, okay, I picked up the pen with my right hand. Then I will keep altering that. After a while, when I am rethinking this thing, then maybe because I have lost track of what had actually happened, I will alter it so much that maybe I don't remember in which hand it was. Or maybe initially I start, like, when I picked up the pen, it was a blue ink pen. But when I remember it again and again and time passes, maybe when I am narrating it for the 10th, 20th time to someone, maybe I end up remembering that the pen had black ink in it. So every time you remember something that has happened to you, you are actually modifying that. So it's scientifically also, I think, found that the memory that you narrate after a while doesn't coincide with what actually happened at that moment. So yeah, it's pretty amazing how our mind works and alters things. So these are the five vrittis that Patanjali ji talked about, and he said that, like, everything you experience is actually a vritti only. So from the time that you were born, every knowledge, awareness of mind was actually a vritti only. We do not know how to exist without vrittis, in fact. So eventually, with the practice of yoga, when you go deeper, you can actually get into a process where now at least you are forming less vrittis in the mind. Like, throughout the day, if you were earlier forming 100, now you can go ahead and, like, work on that and maybe just reduce it by one and go for 99. But that one will also gradually that number will increase, and you will come to a stage where you can go into the process of chitta vritti nirodh, or the state of yoga as described by him, where now the vrittis have stopped forming and you can see whatever is in front of you as it is. Your mind is not going into the process of modifying that thing. You're not seeing things as you are seeing things as they are. Yes, so that is the entire process of yoga as he described. Okay. Any doubts in the vrittis? Okay.
Clear.
Okay. So keep reading about these things because it will help you to get a very detailed understanding of them. I've just explained the minimum, the basic things with which you can understand how these things are functioning in your life. So if next time, yesterday also I said, next time something happens, try to understand which vritti is rising. Okay, so suppose something happens and you just say, okay, this is the right knowledge that I received, this is praman, or okay, now I'm going to sleep, so I'm going to go into the nidra vritti. Okay, so you can add that awareness in your life. Okay. So in Raj Yoga, vrittis are given a lot of emphasis because once you know, understand them, that is when you are able to go into the process where you want to come out of them. Okay. So in the first chapter itself, Patanjali ji gave the way for an advanced level student. So he started his text in a way where the advanced level student would get the relevant information at first. Then the intermediate level student can go ahead, read the second chapter. So he addresses that in the second chapter. And in the second chapter itself, he discusses the entire path of yoga for a beginner level student also. Okay. But once again, there is a certain level of mind you need to enter Raj Yoga. You just cannot enter Raj Yoga like that because you won't be able to follow up on the practices if you go directly into the process of Raj Yoga. So Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, people who are mostly established in other schools, whichever school of yoga they choose, then they can go ahead practice Raj Yoga. It's easier for them to stick to the practices. So for an advanced level student, he said Abhyas and Vairagya. These are the two things that an advanced level student needs to do to get rid of the chitta vrittis. Yes. So I've written these in the chat box. Abhyas, A B H A Y A S. Vairagya, V A R I G A Y A. Nothing else needs to be done. Advanced level student will do what? Directly practice Abhyas and Vairagya. So let me tell you the starting point. Again, he will choose some form of yoga. Okay, so over here, Patanjali ji, because he's addressing an advanced level student, so he understands maybe the student has been already following some path of yoga. Okay, and eventually establishing himself or herself in that practice, maybe they have come on the path of Raj Yoga. Okay, to take their practice to the next level. So he says that choose one practice. So an advanced level student has already narrowed it down, chosen the practice which is most effective for him or her. Okay, that student has chosen that practice. And what that person has to do in that practice is abhyas and vairag. Abhyas is practice. Okay, so continuous practice without any results with a lot of dedication. Okay? All three qualities need to be a part of this continuous, without the expectation of results, and faith. These are three qualities that your abhyas should have. Now you start practicing yoga, the asanas, the pranayamas, all of these things. And suppose that one day you had to go out, meet a few friends, meet family, you came back very late after dinner. So next morning you will not feel like waking up. You will be like, okay, let me take a cheat day. Or today I'm too tired. I'm not going to wake up and practice yoga. So understand that you are not doing it correctly. Okay. Your abhyas, this is for an advanced level student, but even your practice should have these three qualities on whatever level you can implement. So make sure you do yoga every day in one form or the other. Doing yoga doesn't mean that you are just going ahead and performing asana. You can have your own protocol. You can go for pranayama, sit for meditation, but continuity is very important when you are on the path of yoga. That is the thing that will give you the most results. No asana, no headstand, handstand, full split, side split, nothing is going to give you as like many results as your continuity of practice is going to give you. Because suppose, let me take the practice, the example of asana only. So trying to open up your split. Every day you show up on the mat, and that one day you came back very late from a family dinner, and you don't want to wake up in the morning and practice. Yes, we put our snooze like button is generally on when the alarm goes off. So you don't wake up. So even on a physical level, you will see that when you show up after 3-4 days, or there is a gap of even 1 or 2 days only, then also when you show up on the mat after that time, then also you see that you have lost a little bit of flexibility that you had gained in the past few months or till since the time you were practicing. So understand that if this is happening on a physical level, then yoga is a practice which covers all your sheets, all the 5 sheets. It has the tendency, it has practices which will work on all 5 sheets. So if you leave your practice of pranayama or meditation, all of these practices, then understand that after 2 to 3 days when you will pick up, you will find it a little bit more hard and to get to that level, that same level, back to that. So keep working. It's just the continuity which counts. Show up every day on your mat, and this is something that science says, that choose a particular time and a particular spot, okay, for your practice. This will give you motivation to continue your practice. So when you enter that space, enter that room, then your whole like being is now it rearranges itself for the practice that you are going to perform. Okay, so keep that space separate. So somebody asked me a few days ago that can we practice Bhramari pranayama? I was teaching Bhramari only, I think. Can we practice that on the bed, sitting on the bed? And that is what I told that student also, that don't sit on your bed and do these practices. Like abdominal breathing, it's okay, it helps you to sleep. But whenever you're going for your yogic practices, set up your space, because your bed is set up in such a manner that when you lay down on your bed, you should automatically start feeling sleepy. That is the energy you build up on the bed. So, same way, every place that you have has a particular energy. So, keep that space separate, and then you will see when you enter that space, your mind will orient itself to go easily into whatever you want to practice. Okay. So one is continuity. Second is that without expectation. We are generally taught to put expectation on things because, since the beginning, everything has a timeline for us. So we enter school. After sixth, we are going 1 year of doing sixth class. We are going to go into seventh class. Yes, if you passed, we are going to. So 1 year, we consider 1 year sixth class, then 1 year seventh class. So we are constantly surrounded by such an environment where we know that after this year, this is what we would have achieved. Even a small kid knows this, nursery ke baad, prep ke baad, this. So we are not used to, and when you step out, when you go into your college life and your work life, things don't happen with a timeline. So we are used to a timeline, but they don't happen with the timeline. So it disturbs us. It really breaks the flow. But you need to have this understanding that you cannot put a timeline on things in your life. They're going to happen and they will happen. And if they're not meant to happen, unfortunately, it is so, as per my experience, at least, that they will not happen. Okay. So you, and if I'm saying this about the general things in life, understand that you are going into a very spiritual practice. So you cannot say that in 10 months, okay, or in 3 months, I'm going to do headstand or I'm going to do full split. Maybe your body type is not so. Maybe you will take 5 months or 10 months to do that, or maybe you are very flexible, so you might be able to achieve it in what, 1 month only. So you cannot put a timeline on the things that you are doing. And for asana, still sometimes we work very hard, we are able to see the results. But for pranayama, for meditation, when we put goals over there, that same process, which is supposed to free you, is going to get you into a mindset where it begins to bind you now. Why? Because I've set my timeline. Okay. In 3 months, my meditation practice is going to be so that I'm just going to like be in meditation. But you will see meditation is also not a straight path. Some days will be good, some days will be bad. And your focus is never on the good or bad days. It's always on being neutral about however your day is. Yes, so that is the mind that you are developing when you are doing um, meditation. So you cannot place a timeline. So spiritual aspirant should never place a timeline that this is the amount of time in which I'm going to achieve this thing. Sometimes it might happen also, but generally speaking, I'm saying do not go in with that mind. Okay. And the last thing is faith. If you do not have faith in your practice, there is no way in which you can go ahead and achieve your final goal in that thing. So if I don't believe in something, first thing, I will not take out time for it. I will not make time for that thing. And even if I'm meant to make time for that, I won't do it with that dedication, with that 100% attitude. So your faith, your belief, your surrender, sense of surrender is very important when you are learning, when you are a student. When you are in the student capacity, always keep your cup empty and then enter a space, because then you will be able to pour all of the new information. If your cup is full, it will overflow. Yes. So your abhyas should have these three qualities. Then we come to Vairagya. So if the advanced level student has all qualities in abhyas and has a sense of detachment, okay, while practicing yoga, he is keeping that sense of detachment in the practice, then he will be able to reach the final goal very easily, properly. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter which practice you have chosen. That is what, and be very clear about anything. Like this should be very clear to you guys about anything in life. It doesn't matter what you're choosing, as long as you stick to it and you are not expecting results from that. You're working because you're working. There is no attachment. You will see, you will be able to achieve anything in life. Nothing can stop you. Yeah. So it's a very good life attitude also that he can develop. Okay. Then he came to the second chapter and he talked of Kriya Yoga for an intermediate student. He said, okay, you have already chosen your path. Now this is what you can add. So Kriya Yoga, in which he included Tap, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Pranidhan. Any doubts from whatever we have anything like previously discussed?
It's clear.
Okay. So now Kriya Yoga also, and we have discussed before also. So intermediate level student is going to start with Kriya Yoga, where he is going to go into austerity. Austerity doesn't mean that you stop eating, go sit in a cave, and just forget about your body, just meditate. It's an attitude that you develop where you develop the mm, sentiment of sacrifice. So you are now beginning to give up things. Okay. So you understand that you cannot do everything, and hence, so if I have 24 hours, I cannot go and party and at the same time do yoga. So how I'm utilizing those 24 hours, it's up to me. And without with realization or without realization, everybody sacrifices something in their life to achieve something. Think of anything that you set your mind to. Suppose cracking some exam or receiving some promotion in your work. Then you sacrificed something. Maybe you worked late hours or you studied for late hours. So what you're doing then is you are sacrificing. So when he talks of tapas, there is a sense of sacrifice that is there to attain a higher goal, to control your mind. So sacrifice is made to control the mind. Tell the mind, no, you're not going to do this. Now we're going to do this only. Okay. So develop that. Then you move to the next step, which is your swadhyay. So again, following your own self, trying to, observe your own self from a third person's perspective. That is what swadhyay is. अपने खुद के एक्शन को देख जाना. Why did you do that? Why was your reaction in such a way? When you start studying your own self, when you become your own project, that is when you gain a lot of understanding why you are doing certain things and where you need to go. Okay, so for a yogi also, he is constantly checking his actions and trying to understand what is the best way for him to act. It's it must include the benefit of everyone around him. So he has to keep a constant eye out that why whatever I'm doing, what is the impact of the things that I'm doing. Okay, so Swadhyay. You can also go ahead and read texts when we talk of Swadhyay. So reading texts that give you universal truths can also help you to introspect yourself, like judge yourself, or judge is not the right word, understand yourself. Understanding is the right word for it. So it helps you with that. And last is Ishwar Pranidhan. Again, amazing quality when you surrender your actions to a higher being. And there is such a strong sentiment of just surrender. there is no control, you're letting go of all control in your actions, then all these three things together, he said that intermediate level student, whatever you're doing, add these three things to that practice. Okay. And then we come to beginner level, which we are going to be covering completely on Monday. Ashtanga Yoga, which is the most famous one that you all of you must have heard of, Ashtanga Yoga. So just write that down. ASHTANGA, Ashtanga Yoga. So the 8 limbs of yoga as given by Maharishi Patanjali. So he said, okay, now a beginner level student who hasn't who knows nothing about the path of yoga and still wants to practice and is ready for Rajyoga. So all of these conditions can also begin. I'm giving you a step-by-step process. At the end of the 8th step, when you reach the 8th step, then at the end of that 8th step, you will find your final goal, which is Kevalya. Okay. So first he said, एक एक करके चढ़ो. Don't go fast. Don't go running, because if you go running up, then you will come back like running at the same speed down. Okay. He said, establish yourself in each and every one of these. And he set it up in such a way that it works once again on all your 5 koshas. Okay. So the first 5 limbs are called Bahirang Yoga. Or the external, I can say, limbs, and Antarang Yoga,
Antar
internal.
what?
Antarang, I'm writing that down also.
Okay, Antara.
Okay, so Bahirang is Bahiranga, and Antarang is Antaranga. So first 5 limbs, Bahirang, I'm writing those down first. So Yama, Yama, Asana, Pranayama, and then Pratyahar. These 5 are the Bahirang, uh, like part of the Bahirang process of yoga. Okay, so Yama is YAMA, Niyama, NIYAMA. Then we come to Asana, ASANA, Pranayama, PRANAYAMA, and Pratyahar, PRATYAHAR. Five external processes. Yes. Then we have three antarang limbs, the internal limbs. So that is dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana is DHARANA. Dhyan is DHYANA. And samadhi is SAMADHI. So once you get established in the Bahirang yoga, like the external steps, then you enter the internal limbs, which are dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Before this, all of the processes that you have entered into are somewhere connected. You are somewhere connected to the external world.
आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी स्लो आ रही है.
How about now?
Yeah, it's better.
So first 5 limbs, mostly we are connected to external, like our senses basically. उनके साथ हमारा connection रहता है. Yeah, and fifth limb is so where you are withdrawing. So it's a bridge. Pratyahar is the bridging point from external to internal. And then you go into an internal process where now the senses and everything you have suspended. Matlab, you're not connected to them. Now your focus has become the one object that you have chosen, and then you work with that to connect with the inner self. Okay, so we'll discuss all of these on Monday, like what each and every one of these include. But these are the 8 limbs that he has given. From beginning, you can reach till the end following this path. Okay. So, any doubts?
नहीं, अभी तक तो क्लियर है, क्योंकि मैं साथ साथ में लिखता भी जा रहा हूँ तो.
ओके, ठीक है, चलिए. तो we'll continue on Monday. We'll discuss each and every one of them in detail. क्या कहना चाह रहे थे, क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं. Yeah. So
ठीक है.
Let's end today's session. Okay. We'll just back and neck straight. Close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Natural flow of your breath. And allow all the information to seep in. Take one deep breath. And after you do so, inhale deeply. We'll be chanting Om one time. followed by 3 Shanti. And chant Om. Om. Sham. Sham. Shanti. Just relax. Turn both palms together in front of the chest and bow down. And remember any one incident from your past 24 hours that you are grateful for. Say a mental thank you. And very slowly you can rub both the palms together. Generate heat between both the palms and place them over your eyes. Gently begin to open up your eyes while looking at the palms. Come back with a big smile. And namaste. I will see you in the evening for your pranayam class.
Thank
I
you.
I missed a bit of the class. Is the class going to be on the YouTube?
Yes, it's going to be on YouTube.
And what will it be called? Like when will I look? Will I look in an hour or look tomorrow? Or?
No, by evening, I think it should be uploaded. So you'll have to wait for a few hours. But
Okay.
it will be uploaded mostly with the name of Raju. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.